Definitely, definitely. It will be a distinct honor and pleasure to introduce Professor Dr. Syed Ismail. He has, how do I say that? He has some of the most practical and basically insights into applications of technology, not just technology development, but actually implementing the technologies in the field, and has a very fine understanding of the problems that farmers in the Indian context face. And he has vast experience stretching over to 30, 40 years. And he has very wide experience working with a lot of distinguished scientists. And last year, during the peak epidemic, COVID epidemic, he led and conducted about a 3-month workshop, a webinar series on IoT applications in agriculture. And that's how I came in touch with Dr. Ismail, and it was my distinct pleasure. After that, I mean, I was like, okay, Dr. Ismail, we need to talk to you, and we need to get your advice. Because, see, it is one thing that we always feel that, okay, it is one thing to be a good technologist, it is one thing to be a good scientist, but it is a very different thing to be a good scientist as well as good technologist, and as well as a person who can understand it in the context of the real problems, and most importantly, be a sensitive human being who will actually understand the troubles and make the effort to solve those problems. And Dr. Syed Ismail is someone of that sort. And it's my real distinct honor and pleasure to welcome Dr. Ismail. I know this was a informal things that are outside his regular CV and things like that. That's why I wanted to bring this out.
Yeah.
And I would request Vasundhara to give a
Yeah.
list of basically introduction from his
I
formal perspective.
may may
Thank
may
you
may
so
may,
much.
may I introduce myself shortly. I think very nice. I'm sorry, Masundra. I think you would have read. I'll tell in short. Moti, I'm basically an agriculture engineer, and in AIT when I went for masters, I started working in automation. So from 78 it was. Then I started learning programming languages starting from PL1, APL on IBM 3031, and then started with 80, 85 controllers, electronics, every stuff because I worked on control systems. So the whole my life went into electronics and control systems afterwards. I came to, after a decade in Europe, I came to India to export precision spraying system to Bosch in Europe. I had a stint around 6, 7 years. Then I find India, there is no real business for agricultural technology or whatever the electronics those days. I also tried a stint in US to have the software line, but I found only body shopping was there, so I didn't like it. So I worked on most of the time on automation in industrial products, and we are the pioneers to actually automate the attendance systems in most of the factories in India. We were leaders for 10 years. Last 5 years back, I was pulled in back into agriculture because of the people are coming back into development. That is in short from me. And I do some work now also, a little bit of consultancy work and agriculture business as it is. I have a lot of exposure to the field, what is happening now. And like I told my juniors, my colleagues, everybody is a professors and all, I'm always in touch with them. And I come to know this. Uh, there are reasons that I came into it. Different forums I participated. After seeing different university students, I started improve. I want to improve their knowledge because they are either agricultural engineers or IT professionals or electronic engineers. And 99%, I employ around thousands. I employed till now around thousands of electronic engineers. Nobody knew the basics of electronics. Nobody knew. Really, if I ask them what is an inductor, they cannot explain and do it. So today also technology is from the point what I see is IT industry. Also most of them in India, most of them, not all, cut and paste works out. So I started last year with the objective of teaching the basics to the students coming inside. I'm very happy to be in the forum. Let us go ahead straight and see because I think the message what I send is more important than about me. If you allow me, I will start.
Please.
Thank you. Okay, I have put here a small link to my YouTube channel, which you will find that is very easy to remember, automation in agriculture. So youtube.com slash C, that's for channel, YouTube standard, automation agriculture. You'll find probably about 90 of the international speakers on this uh, electronics line as well as an agriculture line, explaining about different things happening. This is only 1 year old, so you can see the latest one, what is happening throughout the world. For the students, it will be useful if you can just remember the link and you can go and see the whole talks afterwards. Now, today the topic is about push and pull strategy. The question is, I think if you're business people, you will know automatically what is push and pull strategy. Normally, the scientists we don't really work much on this, but as a management people, when you go and manage things, you will know automatically. It's like a pushing a door or pulling a door, and people always prefer pulling a door because you won't bang on somebody else, and it is very similar actually. Actually, pushing is a proactive effort. You have a new technology you want to put inside to people and expect people will accept it. Pull is something what the customer wants it. Okay. Now, I tell you this IoT uh, is not new to India. 20 years back, I tell you an example. 20 years back, they started with electrical meter reading. So, very first, they gave infrared sensors. You have a handheld terminal, go with the infrared sensor. With that, you can read the meter reading and come back with the handheld terminal to the PC and download. This is the first thing started. Then the technology, there is requirement, actually requirement from the electricity companies that they want to do the billing without writing down mistakes to eliminate. Second stage came is these electricity meters were interfaced with the GSM. This is about, I'm talking about 10 years, 12 years back. In Mumbai, most of the industrial areas, galas were given with this particular meter outside they fitted. It is by the distribution company, and they were taking the reading and putting it. Water meter is the next one. These are all the examples of pull based. So the demand, the actually people want it, and then there's a demand for it, but there was no technology. So technology slowly came inside. And today we have people work with different technology, NB-IoT, meter reading, water meter reading, all the stuffs have started coming now. This is the full strategy. So I think any technology goes through, will go through a different technology process. I decide this in short. I think it's very long time, so I have to cover it up, but I'll tell you what I'm going to talk about. What are the present hypes about technology, especially in agriculture area? I would call hype, and what is the reality? And we'll talk about what is the current agriculture farmers' requirements. Okay, I can bet most of them you will agree, the farmers will agree. Then what are the required agricultural applications where you require electronics or controls or IoT, whatever you call. Then we'll talk about some of the basic knowledge required before you talk about this. It's not only the cloud base is going to give you solutions. We need sensors, we need actuators. So those we'll see which are important for this field. Then we talk about few applications which are required. Then we talk about a few IT skills required for the people who are using it. Fortunately, because I know both the software and the hardware as well as agriculture, I can tell you with authority, rather, I would say, what are the IT skills required, what type of frameworks you have to use, and I will show you some practical examples what we have also. Then we'll talk about what is the future of agriculture, considering the environmental impact, what we are doing today, as well as how the climate change is working. This is the content going to be. So we just now we learned about push and pull. So pull is always better in the beginning. Push can be done later on. For example, pull is another example. People wanted a camera, so they tried to put a small camera on the phone. Then it was push, the new technology. You have so multiple cameras, vision camera. These are all push. So we will go to the next one, which I will show you here. This again about push and pull. Very simple. It is a research, R&D done, production done, and then marketing. This is the pushing. You want to push. You don't care much about the need is there or not. You will create a need. So there is a competition, a price, competition, whatever, all comes. So this is where the problem comes also with people are having a lot of hype about patents. Okay, and I find it very strange because I made patents in 80s. So the question is today people are rushing for patents. So this is something is weird look. Whereas second one is pull is the market expresses the need, and then we go for research and development, production and marketing. Now I will go through some of the terminologies or the buzzwords we hear all these years, now recent 2 years, 3 years. First, I heard before 2 years blockchain. Everybody was talking about blockchain, blockchain. Everybody in the industry, even my webinar people came and talked last year about blockchain important. We are using blockchain. Today, silent, fully silent about blockchain. Because the problem is to understand the what it will help you. Blockchain is nothing but a distributed database. In simple terms, I'm telling. Complex comes safety, whatever it is. If one computer down, it will pick up the data, redundancy, no cheating, all the stuff. Leave it aside. But basically, it's a management of a distributed database. So, how it will work? It will help in agriculture. But what extent everybody has to jump into it? That's a question mark. Now we have second one area buzzword, we have big data in agriculture. This came recently, maybe 1 year, 1.5 1 year back. And to tell you, the Microsoft very much inside, and suddenly Azure, everybody puts in big data. I was wondering and searching where in US or anywhere else in the world using big data for agriculture. I could not find a significant amount is used of big data. To tell you in simple, the students, big data is so much data can be collected from the living things we use in agriculture, and that's including animals and this thing. And you can use this huge amount of data, what you're getting, for future processing, future analysis. You get the information collection very first. Then it's good for making decisions in the future. But this will not, big data will not give to the farmers help right now. We need data first. So this is one activity we should go on the sideways collecting, but you cannot put all your energy, money into big data collection. The next is the one, another word is virtual reality and augmented reality. So virtual reality is more useful than augmented. Augmented, you're also inside as you're a part of it and seeing it. Virtual reality is you see actually, let us see, example I'm telling you, I'm looking at a man and I will tell him whether he is sick, whether he has a kidney problem, whether he has a lung problem, to exaggerate what is virtual reality. You must be able to identify from a skin color, whatever may be, or a small radiation, you send it with a camera, take it, and send this information to background computers, and they will analyze and help you to make decisions. Similar, there are a lot of ideas. I saw one of the Canadian firm working on plans to identification of diseases. It's about 2 years back I saw in Pune. It's a good idea, but the question is, we don't have enough data still. So it has to be developed slowly. The data, for example, looking at a plant, it takes an image and sends to the computer, and we understand what are all the possibilities of diseases, what are all there. You know, the first disease in agriculture identified only after the first attack. After 15 days of the first attack only, we can identify even the plant. Of trying to how it can. So just to call accident by instead as
Excuse me,
one of
sir. Sorry to interrupt you, sir. I think your voice is breaking.
now you can hear me.
Yes, sir. Now it is fine. Thank you.
Okay, I'm sorry. See, the combine harvesters are one of the biggest machines, and they have lot of welding points to be done, lot of sheets to be welded. So I saw the first robot used in agriculture company for making combine harvesters. Automobile came much later. It came in, I think, 84, was used by Fiat Uno, the first. But whereas in agricultural uh, area, already it was used. And there was a problem for them if a particular spot is not properly made, then how to find it out? So they try to fix a camera and automatically identify the next possible point to weld it. So you need not redo the work again. So this is one of the first one I saw in what is a artificial intelligence application. And today, of course, we talk in AI means only typing letters or concluding the letters or
Excuse me, sir. Once again, sorry to interrupt you. I think it will be better if you turn off your video so that there's no issue on the bandwidth side.
yeah.
Yes, so please go ahead.
Now, machine learning is today usable application with Python. But this is my experience because Python is basically we used to use for networking, olden days, and it's good. You can use it, but the amount of you need the background power you require is very high, and still most of the what you call as ML applications are used in pure C in most of the mainframes also. But anyway, doesn't matter the language, but people must know ML and AI requires a lot of layers of information. So it is nice to work on it, but today I don't see in the near future of next 10 years, this is going to change Indian agriculture. Now, next one I want to put as a nano sensors. I don't want to put nanotechnology. There are a lot of talks in nano sensors development. It's an excellent idea, but I don't see a future in Indian agriculture that you will put 10,000 sensors or 1,000 sensors in the field, and you will get the those information and use it for any useful application in the present time. Now, next one is robots in agriculture is another buzzword we hear. Robots are very useful. Yes, this is something I think robots will are needed, especially in certain operations, even for small farmers like weeding. Remove the weeding. Weeding is one of the tedious operations in banana. Whatever you take the plant, it's a big problem. We used to use chemicals, and I think chemicals now people are realizing it's not good. So robots are required in this line. Not in the, of course, processing, you require a lot of robots. Of course, next one is the drones. Last 2 years, 3 years, did all the rounds in drones. I'll come back to drones in the later part of the topic also. Drones is very, yes, possible to use in agriculture. How much we'll see it in the later part. Now, there are a lot of hype on different soil moisture monitors. You have to monitor sensors, put thousands of sensors in the field. It's going to help you. A lot of videos, lot of hype. I think it's a bit problem, according to me. I'll come back to the reason why we are talking. This is a problem. I'll try to introduce you something like a hype. This is called Gartner's hype cycle. Okay, this is used in most of the technology, new technology which is available, and everybody tries to do it and correct it. This is actually from somebody from Monsanto. one in precision agriculture. There are so many things about tractors, so many things about even IT. I'll show you one in about IT or technology. There are some things about even communication, whether 4G, 5G, 6G, or what above. So here you see blockchain is the bottom. This is the first part is the innovation trigger. Once you have an innovation, you want to go for push. So these are all go on pushing on type. So this most of the time we are in this area, deep learning, okay, this Uber for tractors, hyperspectral, and machine learning, drones, the peak of it. And then we come back, actually, we see all of them. I see most of them are realistic when I see how the last several years India went through. So this is the peak of indicated expectation. We expected drones will cover whole India and spray it very fast, very cheap. But nobody thinks about 30 minutes of a flight of a drone will not solve the problem. You need a lot of charging systems, everything. So a lot of small things we come to know the problems. That is the peak of expectation. Then trough of disillusionment. I mean, suddenly we get, nothing will happen. I mean, now we lost the whole thing. So that is where here comes hyper local weather stations. Every field must have or big data working all this stuff. Then comes slope of enlightenment. You try to realize what is useful. Then comes to actual productivity line. So now this particular person, it's not my opinion. It's I take a lot of pictures from there to show you. This is only for education purpose. It's so I every copyright is appreciated here. See, for example, he says about VR, virtual reality will come in the future, and NDVI, that's about again plant, seeing the color of the plant. To tell you simple, I don't know how many of you understand this. So here, similar is done for so if you try whatever you uh, as a different types will come to reality. Now, I think right now. So we produce the of oils, and then you enough to eat. Different issues. We have, so is only oil seeds is this one. Our exports are not significant compared to other. Our wastages are very high. We have in vegetables and fruits somewhere up to 80% or 90% even 80% wastages. And paddy, everything you go up to 30% wastages. This depends on the state and depending on the season also. It cannot be generalized, but this waste is very high. For example, even I would say about soybean in Vidarbha area, probably you'll have 20 to 30% wastage. That's a different reason of harvesting and whatever it reason. Soil health, our soil structure is damaged because too much of plowing and tilling and puddling, for example, on wetland, our soil structure is almost damaged. And soil nutrition value, I would put in simple words like this, which is almost 30% reduced in the last 20 years. This is from TNA university studied, and you can find many studies similar. They will say 30 times, 20 times reduce the nutritional value because we put in a lot of fertilizers and it doesn't add the value to it. Micronutrients are very less. Salinity is a problem. Environment, we are damaging the environment because we don't have any cover on the soil. Quality of inputs, seeds, still we don't have good quality. We have almost 20-30% of the seeds problem. Water, we use too much of water. Too much of water, waste a lot of water. Normal water available to us, 40 to 50% is used in agriculture. And home consumption only 4%. Fertilizer, we have too much fertilizer, we're using chemicals, so we can't even export certain of our, like paddy, we cannot export. Our farming techniques, only we have a tractor, for example, we don't have much of tools. Compared to, let us say, 100 tractors, we have 15% of tools. Whereas developed countries have is reverse automatically. farmers' income, you'll be surprised, actually 1,500 to 2,500 rupees per month per acre. Okay, that's all. Now, in well-to-do farmers like Punjab or Haryana, whatever it is, it goes to 6,500 to 8,500 per acre per month. So this is a basic problem. It's also because of different reasons, various reasons. Our GDP contribution is very less, 10% to 12%. Whereas employment we employ or directly or people are dependent on agriculture around 40 to 50%. Now, problem is again, we all have to work together, universities, scientists, experts, government, farmers, and the society has to work together for this. Now, I will come to applications. I think all of the applications we can see. Somebody want, I can share this afterwards. I'll come to the directly some of the applications. You see, for example, in IoT in agriculture, let us see application. Agriculture sensors, soil moisture measurement, nutrition analysis. These may not be the priority. Okay. Agriculture actuators development. Yes. Solenoid valve is important because how will you irrigate it if you don't turn on a valve? And we don't have much manufacturers in India solenoid valve. Depth measurement. We don't know how much the wells have water, how much groundwater we have. We don't have any data. And irrigation, fertigation is important. Like I told you, for example, people who have drip irrigation, but they go for banana. I seen in near Baroda in a village completely. There are about 10 farmers joined together. They have problem. They only use fertilizers once in 15 days because in night time they have automated drip system. Automated means you can turn it on and off. But fertigation is not there because it's available. It's very expensive. What they're looking for, acre price of somewhere about 15-20,000, which is very much possible. But if you guys, the youngsters think, yes, there are solutions available. But whereas right now it is in the range of 1 to 2 lakhs. Next is there other areas are there. I think hydroponics, aeroponics, vertical farming. Vertical farming is a very important area because you can produce vegetables, everything nearby the cities where the too much demand is there rather than transport it for 300, 200 kilometers. So then food processing, of course, requires this. All these require technology. And then when you come to drones for planning and insurance, this is a insurance purpose or planning can be used right now. And livestock identification is the second one. And weather station is last one probably. We come back to next topic. I'm going to cover you what is required for sensor and actuator. This I'll go fast because most of you, as I see it with the electronic background, there are some like PCB types, capacitive. They are all useless. Because I put in the picture, don't think they are all useless. They are useless actually in agriculture. And here is again capacitive. I try to make with a rod type. And again, it's useless. It is not so effective. There are something called here TDR. That's a time domain reflection. I'm not going to explain this now. I think you can read it. Second is the metric potential. This is metric potential is supposed to be probably, in my experience, it is the most accurate, but still they are not very accurate. And there is one person I know who has done with all the sensors extensively is Borlaug Institute of South Asia, Ludhiana, Bisa. They've done extensive work on all soil moisture type of sensors, and even this is not very accurate. Now coming back to which soil sensor we'll use, probably I'll come back to tensiometer, the old technology. That's probably the best technology, most accurate. But the work we have to do is instead of vacuum gauge here, you try to make it with the electronic. That's the work I'm doing right now to make it as a wireless here to transmit the pressure. There is a drawback. You have to come and fill the water once in a while, but that is okay compared to the accuracy, especially when you go for subsurface irrigation, fertigation systems. Now, another things are very important. People talk about, you see the oxygen as well as hydrogen. These two are important, especially when you go for, let's say, hydroponics. You want to circulate the water. So you have now affordable, these are hardly about few thousand rupees, 6, 7, 8,000 rupees sensors. So pH is based on the hydrogen. Then you have the oxygen as oxygen ORP sensors are available. These are easily available. This can be used in so much wide applications, agriculture, starting from vermiculture to all the complete details. Now you need a temperature sensors, gas sensors, air quality sensors, motion sensors you require, and distance sensors, even some of the small tank, over tank measurement. Flow sensors, very important, and turbine flow. There are many types of flow sensors are available. I think you guys can find out which is affordable. Most of them affordable now. Then you have pressure sensors, you need it, and speed sensors, you need it. Second is the actuators, which you require actually valves. One of the IoT worked in Indian agriculture for more than 10 years is the pump starters with SMS, and that has to be improved further. Then solenoid valves not available. Now, what are sustainable right now? What farmer wants is to control the amount of water goes, excess water goes, and to measure what is the water availability. Because water and fertilizer are his money. Okay, that's where he can save. Production he's doing already more. If by producing more, he's not going to get more. Second is the communication is another issue. We have to work on it. I'll come back to this. Now drones. Drones, I told you, like this is a Korean, this one. So this was last year somewhere I picked up the data. Some 30% they use drones. So drones problem we have is not approved still for spraying extensively in India. But then the height, wind speed problem in India, who will operate it? How will you guarantee small fields that it will not go and affect the neighboring fields? So this is the main problem, and charging everything. Huge drones where the farmer can afford to pay for small. Weeding, I told you, is important. Now let me come back to the technology side quickly on the different frameworks you require to understand. The communication, when you come back to communication, I always think all this cellular, whatever it is. And in agricultural field, when you want to send a data of a well level, whatever may be, you cannot use all these things because every farmer will not pay so much money for every SIM card. So you have something with CSS spectrum, that is with a LoRa, for example, which is free of cost. I think annotation is going. So LoRa is one technology which can be used. For example, every village has one LoRa, let us say a terminal, which can receive data from multiple for 4 or 5 kilometers away. And I think that will be the best solution probably we will have. Now, again, coming back to different, you have to see the reason. NB-IoT, whatever it is, there is a narrowband. All the gimmicks are playing. Actually, only LoRa will be. We need a networking system for agriculture, Indian agriculture. So coming back to next, there are certain applications also, satellite communication, very less people are working. And this is what I designed before a couple of years back for Brazil, one company. So this uses all type of satellite, Orbacom, Iridium, Inmarsat. This can send 10 times the data, or you can use it affordably 10 times the data in a day. Most of the applications, this is enough. So I think somebody must work. Second is the protocols. People are not aware of it, how to communicate data from there. I think you all know. So MQTT is probably better than the HTTP. MQTT is even I'm using extensively for last 5-6 years. Excellent, no problem. Now there is a confusion about languages. All languages have only 3. Okay. Assignment statements, conditional statement, iteration statement. Nothing else is there. So whether you take C, whether you take any language, anything, Java, whatever may be, these are all the basics. Only question of libraries and what type of safety they provide for the data, everything varies. So people should not be just obsessed with the language, but look at the results, what it brings. Now, there are solutions which cell phone based ICT solutions give. It doesn't cover all of them. I will take that few minutes to explain you because it's important. You don't have an idea what a neighbor farmer is going to grow crop. So there's an app required where it's like an Aadhaar card. What you have for human being, you need an Aadhaar card for the land. All records must be maintained, what crop, everything. This is a separate topic. I have got a different, those who are interested, ask, this is excellent. I even told to NABARD everything before 4 years, but nobody moves it actually because it's a simple one, but nobody want to touch it. Now, this is something I want to show, which I done for a small wireless device for Bolag Institute. I can show this. I don't know whether this will work. I will see it whether it works. I think. Now you will see here the Mumbai sensor written there. This is data which is come live data. It is actually 26/8 at 5:30. The data has come. So you can see reports also. You can see the full day reports here. I want to close the screen. How to close the screen? Go back to old one. Here, huh? Correct, no? Yes. This is one of the other devices which has got almost all type of interfaces, starting from LoRa, whatever. These are all. This if I just won't show you the picture. It has got relay controls everything. The cost BOM will be around 2.5K, 2,500 BOM. Probably 4,000 somebody can sell very effectively. Now come back to another one. I want to show you one which Polyhouse. This is something very simple electronics can do. I will show you a video that this was done by a student in Dapoli, and you can see the curtain is moving out, allowing the air to come inside and reducing the temperature and reducing the humidity. Plus, it will also help in pollination. You see, both sides is moving. Actually, 4 sides you can make also. You will show the video on the other side. Okay. Now, this measured with a very low cost temperature and humidity sensor inside, and a simple solution without doing anything. This in certain parts of the country, very, very useful, very simple, and really economical. So the curtain will come down now. I think that's not a issue. We come back to next one is the topic I will talk about. Important today for the conservation agriculture. See, we cannot damage anymore our soil much. We cannot put in fertilizers more. We have to look at already we know climate problems, what climate change is doing, and we are still damaging in India. Most of the land is dumped with chemicals. Problem is fertilizer almost two-thirds of the cost of the fertilizer is borne by the government. So I think we have to seriously the persons who are involved must think of using the least fertilizer possible. So 3 principles are there, the conservation agriculture, no much disturbance to the soil structure, always maintain some cover on the soil. So soil is not exposed to the open air. This helps the environment with good detail. Periodical crop rotation. We cannot grow same crop. That's another problem. Monoculture, India has a problem. Urban agriculture, already explained, is one of the important things we have to consider for Indian need. I will conclude this quick talk with what a farmer needs. Indian farmer needs simple systems, sustainable systems, and need-based. I think with this few words, I will conclude my talk. I think you are hearing me.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Hello. Yeah, I concluded. We can ask for questions. Anybody has questions? I'm willing to.
Sure, sir. Do we have any questions from the audience end?
Good evening, sir. A very good presentation. And thank you for the informative presentation. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. And sir, actually, your presentation was very interesting. But the thing is, in India, most of the farmers are small farmers. And recently, I have read one report on Pan India study that in India itself, in agriculture sector, already around 400 technologies are available. but only 22% of the technology has reached the farmer. In that also only 10% of the technologies are viable for the farmers. But in this condition, how we can take these technologies to the farmer? Because adaptation is the very difficult issue in agriculture sector. So how
Okay.
can we take these technologies to the farmer? Because there are so many inventions and so many technologies are coming, but there is a very big gap bridging the technologies between scientists and farmers. Though India have a good network of extension system, they couldn't utilize it effectively. They couldn't
Okay.
take those innovations to the farmers. So, what is
Thank you.
your solution on that?
How often you have gone to a farm? How many farms you visited? How many months you have spent in a farm? The question is that I'm not asking question. I'm just telling. This is a general question everybody must ask. The problem is we are trying to push again. You go to the farmer in Vidarbha, go into Tamil Nadu, go into Punjab, and see exactly in the field, and ask the professors to go and spend. I always fight for it now. 15 days they must spend in every 6 months. 15 days in the farm, every professor, before talking about agriculture. And you know, most of the writings what you read in the net everywhere, they are all document professional writers. They are not farmers. They are not the people who experience this line. I will tell you now what is the small farmers problem. Cotton farmers, for example, there is no cotton harvesting equipment. Okay, manually done. Labor problem. This is the real problem because Vidarbha, Maharashtra area, biggest problem cotton. Second problem is they are not implemented properly, so-called the BT cotton. Okay, that is a genetically modified cotton. I just issue a problem. There is no way we can measure the cotton moisture content, so farmer cannot get the price. This is just only cotton. Soybean, we only cut it, there's no harvesting system. In Tamil Nadu, if you go Kuruai crop, 20 to 30% of the paddy is lost on the field outside in rains. There are no dryers available. Only one company manufacture a paddy dryer in Punjab, in India. So the problem is what you read, technology available. Farmer doesn't want technology from you. He has got a cell phone. He can find out. Only question is what he needs a help. I told you irrigation, small irrigation, I told you. What is the irrigation? 2 acre farm, irrigation system, automatic, drip irrigation available now. Pipe they can put. Midnight, he has to go and 3 o'clock turn on, turn off the valve. Okay? And 3 times he has to do it. So whole night he has to be awake. How will you do fertigation in the night? So what I see the industry or the universities to work on low cost fertigation system with the electronics available. You can, but then you need several people to talk. One man cannot do the job. So this is one of the example I tell you. There is, don't believe all those things that so many small farmers, that is not the problem. Even if you're small, your needs are very important. So I think we go with this approach, then we go for the actually pull based approach instead of push. Technology, farmer doesn't need a drone. He want to spray less actually and correct time. That gives you solution. Don't use the solution. Next question I can take. I think thoda I always use force to when I talk. I'm sorry for it because most of the people I think I love because I am also an educated person. I worked in the university for some time. I worked in the industry, and I recall always I was always an employer in my life, and I feel that we have to move our vice chancellor out to the field. I always say agriculture vice chancellor must spend 1 month in a year in a field directly in the farmer without telling he is the top boss, without telling, just silently go and listen to them. And I think that is how we can change. That is how I told you how we have changed. IoT is used in electric billing. Already, how we use GSM already before 15 years in India. And imagine India software. No software existing today. When I came here, I was shocked to see railway reservation system, one of the best systems in the world, was done in India. But we have not made any OS. No operating system from India. We have now a Tally, which is some small Indian company made selling for accounting. So it's a question of vision. And we always believe to listen to somebody else, see some records, no, it is not possible. I think we go with a positive attitude to find a small need and solve the problem. Very small need, if we start, I think we can help a lot of people.
I'm also agreeing that we need more low-cost technologies because farmers cannot afford for so much advanced and high-cost technologies.
I disagree. For example, recently, before 3 months back, there was a imported sprayer, which laser guided sprayer imported by one of the company actually, and they assembled here, part and assembled here, that reduces the pesticides spraying by 50%. 50%. And actually the sprayer costs 50 lakhs rupees, 45 to 40 to 50 lakhs rupees. But people immediately purchase the big guy. He told, no problem, I'll give service to it. So the question
But
is
sir,
not the
only
cost.
few farmers are like that, right?
No. He gives service to in Madhya Pradesh only. I'm talking. I can send you the guy's name. Madhya Pradesh only. He gives a lot of farmers. You see, if you know, actually, most of the combine harvest all go from Madhya Pradesh to Punjab, everything to harvest. So it's not. I'm talking 2 acre farmer will buy it, okay, but he gets the facility to use it. That is what is important, because you will not buy also, because many people in US don't buy a washing machine. They share a washing machine and dryer outside. I think if you study in US, you will know most of the people prefer to share. So I think that is not an issue. The issue is we are assuming this is what he wants and we're doing that. We should stop. I think on the field, like I told you, chemicals, how much he can earn 50%, you don't know the figure. If I tell you, you will faint. He can make the whole money within 3 months to 4 months, the guy who buys the machine. So if one guy buys, he helps 500 farmers, 400 farmers. So drone also will help like that only. I think IC had done a lot of study, and given finally drone requires to be go to the cluster of farmers and do it. Hiring is taking very much good now. Tractors. I went to a small village in Maharashtra. Their nearby village has 50 tractors. I told, what do you do 50 tractors? Isuzu tractors are going to probably about 30, 40 villages serving. So custom hire is also started. So India is improving. Only question is what I told is the scientists, please walk out to the field and see. Just spend your time. Alone is beautiful. Spend your time there. Do some gardening or something like that. Go to the farmer. We may not solve all his problem, but listening to him itself will make us to solve small problems. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Do we have any more questions from the audience end? I think, sir, we don't have any more questions.
Yeah, Vasant, there is a question in chat box.
Can you please read it? Somebody can read it?
Is hydroponic farming better? Do crops receive enough micronutrients?
See, both topics are different. I'll explain you both. First is hydroponics is good for cultivating protected cultivation, which means you want vegetables or certain, you cannot grow in hydroponics paddy, for example. It's not sustainable. At the same time, micronutrients, see, NPK are the normal urea, you must have heard word, for example. So that's a major nutrients. Micronutrients are very small nutrients, which are already, you has to be enriched by different, ecosystem. It has to come from, used to come from the ecosystem by plowing back again the humus, what is there, everything. Or you have to add, very difficult to add them. So this is one of the problem. But hydroponics is excellent for that. And there is something called aeroponics. It is slightly expensive. Again, you can produce more. The hydroponics advantage is you can produce more in a short time and with less chemicals usage. But it is investment total expensive, and we are working on this recently. Right now, I am running the webinar series on this only protective cultivation, conservation agriculture and urban agriculture. I think you may join. I think I'll pass the link. You may join if you're interested.
Yes, there is another question. What will it cost if we use drone for water irrigation?
Irrigation, you cannot do drones, because the problem is in irrigation you require in thousands of liters of water for even for an acre, hundreds of liters. But drones can be, the capacity is like 10 liters to 100 liters, whatever. Huge drones, they cost about 7, 8, 10 lakhs rupees, and I think they can carry only certain time of water. Imagine, remember, the drones with batteries are not practical unless you have a charging station and everything. You need again an engine-based drones. And I'm talking why you need drones for that purpose. Drones have purpose for mapping. We don't have proper mapping. Let's do the mapping. study on the drones is very excellent, cheap and affordable, and immediately will help farmer also. That has to be first attempted. Then going for spraying, because people don't need spraying. Spraying in hilly area terrain, excellent. Drones are excellent. You go for it. But practically, it's expensive actually to use a drone. Many companies have went bankrupt starting drones on this hype, what I told 2 years back started. They're funded companies, they still manage somehow. But you cannot start a company spending 1 crore rupees on a drone and thinking to make money, because spraying is only for short times, intervals. Okay, it's not throughout the season. So only twice you will spray for a particular. So 7, 8 times you will go, and you have 15 days to spray. Within this 15 days to spray, you cannot cover so many fields. So there are a lot of drawbacks in drones.
Dr. Ismail, I have one question, basically regarding the soil health. There was this scheme from the government, I think a few years ago, where they were trying to give something called as soil health card. And the soil testing laboratories were supposed to be there in all village clusters so that you can provide timely advice. How is that going, and what are the problems you may have seen with those kind of things?
Actually, it's a good. Actually, before this, I will add to you. 15 years back, government even provided vehicles for soil testing. Okay, mobile soil testing labs. They and even companies like Mahindra, I recall, they also had a mobile soil testing labs. Then they are given a health card. The problem is most of the farmers say we don't get the report. They take samples sometimes and go away. This is about project areas. What I call, there are a lot of projects going on to improve the farmers by different agencies, different governments, whatever may be, but there's not united. And that actually, if any scientist walks on the roads, he will know automatically this area what is the major problem. So soil health has to be maintained. So that's the reason a health card to maintain, who will see access, how we will get is very important. That's why I told you one generalized app like what I put in one of the slides to have that contains every detail about soil health, what you put fertilizer, how much it is. You need the whole history of it. I think to answer your question, it is not efficiently working. Anything government starts has to be followed up, monitored properly, and that's where we miss. The problem is monitoring. We have excuse list. We always tell this reason this didn't work, but then we should foresee the reason beforehand, and we must make some accountability. I think because Indian agriculture is, if you talk other way around, I'm talking, it's wide, vast. We have so many people, field people sitting there, and we have departments. Every department is there, but the machinery doesn't work so effectively it should. So that is our problem.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I think
Okay, then. Thank you, sir.
anybody needs any help, contact me, no problem, anytime. Because I love to help youngsters to do the business, whatever it is. Okay, I don't take. Most of people who worked with me, at least I can point out 20, 30 people. They are big business people. So I always believe in the country must grow with the youngsters, especially educated, and I think I will help. Thank you very